Hi everyone, thank you for having us. Before we start off, I want to introduce my colleague, Gabriela, Elisa. Let me not say her name wrong. So she was assistant editor for our feature-length film, Antarctic Edge, which is currently in theaters now. She also presented the film at the prestigious International Woods Hole Film Festival in Massachusetts, which also has a really large science and marine biology community. They're doing fascinating research out of Woods Hole. She also is a cinematographer, editor, director of her own independent film that she made as a student called The Lost Child, which premiered on our Women's Film Festival at Rutgers University. So here we go. But yeah, again, we're talking about science for the screen, bridging art and science in film. I know that primarily most of you are going to be writing, so video may or may not apply to what you're doing here in this program, but I just want to note that writing and producing documentaries is actually very similar. So you're going to learn about that today as well. Again, we're from the Rutgers Film Bureau, which is based at Mason Gross School of the Arts at Rutgers University in New Brunswick. The Rutgers Film Bureau is a documentary production office that produces short and feature-length documentaries that go on to television broadcast and theatrical release. Our director here, Dina Seidel, spent 6 weeks in Antarctica filming scientists on an icebreaker, which they have turned into our feature-length film in Antarctic Edge, which is right now years. I'm going to play that another times 6. So in the Rutgers Film Bureau. Do you want to talk about your history with film and working with the Film Bureau?
Well, I was just a student, just like you guys, but in college, so 2 years ahead of you, at Rutgers University, and I wasn't studying filmmaking at first. I was studying French literature, but then I was brought into the Film Bureau and I learned about the amazing work that they're doing about creating stories and interviewing scientists like you all are doing, and shaping that into stories that the general audience can understand, because we're not all scientists. 2 years a scientist. Okay. We're so happy to have you. Who here isn't necessarily a scientist? So there's a good mix of us, but we all are here together, crossing over from science and arts, and that's what we've been doing at the Rutgers Film Bureau, and I'm understanding that's what you guys are going to be doing too. Is that right? High school students here? Yeah? Cool. Well, I also just want to take a brief moment to congratulate all you high school students, because I understand you are the brightest of the brightest, because this is a very selective program. Yeah, so congratulations too. It's an honor for us to be in front of such an intelligent crowd. So I just wanted to say that.
I'll talk a little bit about my experience as a student. I graduated high school in 2008, and I graduated from Rutgers in 2012. And since that time, I've been working full-time at Rutgers ever since, so I kind of haven't left yet. But there's obviously a really great reason to stay, because we're working on these really fantastic films, a lot of which are very science-centric. We take pride as Rutgers to be an amazing research institution, and with that, our filmmakers have been able to partner with various scientists throughout the university to tell some really cool stories about science filmmaking. But yeah, I also, like Gabby, I did not go into college thinking I would be a science communicator. I was a double major in English and journalism at the time, so I had no idea that I'd be working in film as well. Our classes in the filmmaking program originally started out of the creative writing department under English. So obviously there's a lot of emphasis on story and being able to communicate complex science ideas, on paper and on screen. So I took my first film class as a creative writing class at Rutgers, and our director approached me the next semester. I was taking independent studies, saying, "Do you want to go to Thailand for 3 weeks and film a documentary?" I quit my job immediately. And obviously, how do you not take that opportunity? So that summer, I found myself in Thailand for 3 weeks, filming a documentary called Thailand Untapped, which is right here, which followed 3 student volunteers from the organization Engineers Without Borders. And they had gone, I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. Yeah, it's an awesome organization. And we were filming on behalf of all of Engineers Without Borders. So, there's a lot of pressure to tell their story right. And there's a lot of pressure on the scientists as well, because they were being filmed and they didn't want to go to Thailand to maintain this water purification system, which they had gone to maintain in this rural village in northern Thailand, who was previously spending 60% of their annual income on bottled water. The scientists didn't want to go there and have themselves fail on film. That's not a good story for anyone. So, there was a lot of pressure. It was an amazing opportunity for me. I was filming on top of water towers in northern Thailand. I was filming off of elephants. It was a crazy experience. And after that, I pretty much knew that I wanted to do filmmaking for the rest of my life. So it's really awesome that you guys are in a program now that's kind of fostering science communication, especially at an age where you can still figure out what you want to do with your career. So congrats, you're all ahead of the curve, and you guys are going to be better than both of us by the time you get to our age. So congrats.
Okay, can anybody here tell me who that man is?
Bill.
Bill Nye, the science guy. Steve and I, when we were in elementary school, it was a treat when our teachers would come in with the television and we would get to watch him. You're only a few years younger than us. Did you also get to watch Bill Nye, the science guy?
No.
Oh, one no, but lots of nods. Well, he was just at our university. He was just at Rutgers as a commencement speaker, which is Rutgers graduation. I was sitting in the Rutgers football stadium with almost 20,000 other people watching Bill Nye, the science guy, talk to us. And he didn't do a regular, boring graduation speech. You're going to change the world. Don't let anybody tell you what your job is going to be. Follow your dreams. Well, yes, follow your dreams. But we've already heard that a million times. So Bill Nye, in the beginning of his commencement speech, he spoke about climate change. He was in front of an audience of 20,000 people, and he knew he could be impactful. You guys can all be very impactful with the medium of storytelling, with the magazine, with the movie that you're creating. So he chose to use that opportunity to talk about climate change. He's also talked about it in the news. As we can see by this funny name, I find it pretty funny, of a newscaster questioning whether or not climate change is real.
And the importance of this slide is to understand why our generation, us as young people and you as even younger people, why it's so important to be a science communicator. One of the lead scientists in our Antarctica film, early on before we started editing the film, told our group of 14 undergraduate assistant editors and associate producers that scientists are currently losing the communication battle on climate change. This is a perfect example. This is the most recent cover of Nat Geo, and it's the war on science. There's obviously a lot of skepticism that validated, scientific evidence suggests otherwise, but people are still, doubting climate change. A lot of people, I think the statistic in this article said that less than half of Americans believe that climate change is happening because of human doing. So obviously there's a lot of more science communication that needs to be had so that policy can be changed, And it's really up to us as science communicators to bring this information from the field, from scientists, to the general audience. We're the filters. So we're essentially at the forefront of of science communication and making sure that our country takes action, not only about climate change, but all the other various environmental issues and scientific things that are happening currently. And on top of that, why we specialize in video as opposed to other, I guess, mediums is because video is everywhere. We live in a hyper-communicative society where you can't socialize without having video pop up on your screen. We socialize through video. And in that sense, we can all be filmmakers, and we're all already storytellers. Like how many people here have Snapchat? Okay, so pretty much everyone here. How many seconds? Like 5 seconds? 3 seconds?
How long is a Snapchat?
Great. Oh, really? Okay. But yeah, so you're taking 10-second clips, and then they compile into Snapchat stories. You're storytellers by that own right, and you're using video to do so. So yeah, whether you're conscious of it or not, we're all storytellers in this day and age. We're all using video, and the video distribution strategy is constantly changing and shifting, which means a lot for filmmakers too, because there are a lot of exciting new platforms that we can put our material on. Antarctic Edge, which we'll show you a trailer soon, that will be on Netflix later this summer, which we're all excited about. Our trailer is currently on Hulu and Amazon. So, as an independent filmmaker, this is a great time to be creating products and creating content because there's so many different outlets for you to show your work. And that goes the same for writers too. For anyone who's specializing in arts or media, it's all kind of in this new realm of mixture. So, journalists now who are applying for jobs also need to know how to use video, and cinematographers also need to know how to write. So yeah, if you're interested in building a career in this field, I highly recommend experimenting with not just writing, but with video also, and with learning how to publish blogs and things like that nature. So yeah.
So the image on the left, that's one of our main scientists who's in the documentary. Just kidding. That's a seal. Anybody know what kind of seal it is? Elephant seal. Yeah, very nice. I knew this crowd was smart. Elephant seal right over here. It's got a little drool coming out of its mouth. We all do that every once in a while. Just kidding. The guy on your left, my right, he, believe it or not, is a scientist. He's not wearing a white lab coat and he doesn't have a microscope in front of him. This guy is out in the field with ropes and calluses and a bow and arrow, believe it or not, in Antarctica, in order to shoot a whale and grab a sample from that whale to study and help those animals in their environment. So science does not necessarily mean sitting in a lab all day long talking about charts, pie charts, and really gigantic words. Instead, you could be dealing with really gigantic animals. So we're trying to change the image of scientists. They're not all boring, right?
Yes, it's fun.
Yeah. Let's go to a bar later. Just kidding. So scientists are real people. They're characters in movies. They're people you read about in National Geographic. They're not, foreign aliens who can't speak our language. They can. So we and you guys are interviewing scientists and taking that story into something that a non-scientist can really understand, because what they're researching is so important for everybody to know about.
So the goal of our films, among other things, is to present science in a fun and exciting manner. My perception of documentaries, especially science documentaries, was a lot different before I started working on them. you know, the stereotypical idea that you have when you think about a science documentary is like some British voice in the African savannah.
We're now in the leopard savanna. It's the mating season of the Serengeti.
And like you're already asleep before you see anyone mate, and it's not fun. So our goal today is to show you guys that science communication can be fun, it can be exciting, it can be adventurous. There are all these different aspects that can draw people to science. So yeah, our first film that was ever produced at Rutgers was Atlantic Crossing, Robot Staring Mission. And it was actually produced in a small utility closet with like 2 editing stations, and you couldn't turn around without knocking over a drive or causing some sort of fire hazard. But we did it, and the students who were involved in this process were able to film marine biologists who were trying to send a glider robot across the Atlantic for the first time in history. And as you'll see, these gliders become very important in understanding how the oceans are monitored. They're also featured prevalently in our Antarctica documentary, which you'll see the trailer for soon. But yeah, the students who were working on this got to film in the glider control center at Rutgers, which is kind of like the NASA station for these little glider robots. And they're filming day and night. They eventually were able to go to Spain and film the retrieval of the glider robot for the documentary. So obviously this project, this mission was a success. The robot did get to fly from New Jersey to Spain successfully, and our filmmakers captured it on camera. And this went on to film on PBS over 400 times and reached a viewership of over, I think, 4,000 audience members. Millions? Well, it was really high. It was a number. I'm a filmmaker. I don't do math or numbers, so like, yeah. Once I get past the figures, it's abstract from there. So yeah, we'll show you guys a trailer for it.
People may think we're crazy for trying. Look at all that we're putting at stake. Someone's got to do it.
We've been told it's impossible. We've been told by many people it is likely to fail. But we have to go.
The challenge is to get an 8-foot robot to cross the Atlantic. It's a groundbreaking mission that's giving us data that we haven't had before.
On 27, we'll see you in Spain.
This data is critical to understand how the ocean is impacting climate change.
So we have to understand what's going on in the ocean because it regulates the climate. To understand the ocean, we have to sample it. And the only way we're going to do that is with robots.
There is a big urgency here for a race against time because the oceans are changing in our lifetime. And major changes in the ocean have always resulted in major changes of life on it.
The odds are very slim that we're actually going to get this vehicle across. This is not something that's easily done.
This glider has a long and scary journey ahead of her. She has fishing nets that could grab her and end the mission instantaneously. There's hurricanes that can just toss her from the tops of 50-foot waves down into the troughs. There's the sea monsters, all kinds of wild with sharks that can latch on and attack anything at any given time.
Currently, we are a month in, and this is very scary for us to see because something's out there.
August 27th, already in 27, 4 months in, we have a glider in trouble. Something's causing her to spin, and we're at the mercy of the currents. Several clocks that we're racing against. One is that we have a hurricane heading our way. So here's the hurricane, and here's the Azores to the south, where the glider is. Go out there, be safe.
Where are you?
Did you hear what happened to us last night? We got stuck at 73 meters. Something stopped us. It scared the death out of us.
There it is! It's here! It's still yellow! Our growth concentrated on that top left side. We're nervous about what the seas could do. They're not going to be able to spend too much time in the water with the swells that we're having, and we're still limited on air. So we've got to be good at it. We work as fast as we can so that they're not in too long.
But right now, the glider's not flying.
She will not surface on her own. Try sinking the glider! Push it down!
Don't lose it, man. Don't lose it.
They're just like your more test missions!
What happened? We got one chance.
We're just going to send it to his death, aren't we?
Blue shark just got my pulse going. Oh my God.
We've had some sharks in the area. I'm watching the divers. I want to make sure they get back on board.
We've crossed all the way from New Jersey to the European side of the ocean. Scarlet has flown longer than any other glider in the world for 6.5 months. We're entering the most dangerous waters of all. How do we get into Spanish waters, and how do we survive? Currents just get worse. We're not sure which way we have to fly to get out of this.
There's a hush of silence with 27. Just feeling a little helpless. We're running out of time here.
Any of these vessels could hit Scarlet and sink her in seconds. That looks like death. Winter in Spain is a very bad time to be at sea in the North Atlantic. 25-foot waves. Well, you have to get a boat out into those waves and go out and get her. And if we make it, we're the first ones to fly the glider across the Atlantic. And it's big.
We have sighted. Right there.
221 days. It's a long time to be at sea for anybody, especially a robot. The winds are picking up, the seas are picking up, so we got to get this operation over with quick.
I do feel it's an urgency that we develop the technologies and can study and understand where the oceans are, and more importantly, what's going. Because that is going to be the critical thing that will determine how well humanity deals with climate change. We are hostage to what we don't know about the oceans.
It's actually taken 30 years to get here. It's the culmination of all the work that I've done my whole career, years of my life. So that's the big moment.
Okay, well, one of the best experiences of my life. I will never forget it. Great work.
Very emotional on that day. You're very emotional.
Congratulations, Scott. That is a moment in history.
Thanks, Brad.
So I'm just going to add also that an excerpt of this film was shown at the Smithsonian. The glider robot RE-27 was put in Ocean Hall in an exhibit, and the footage that these filmmakers shot was used as part of the exhibit. So again, video can transcend into many different platforms and mediums, and it can be coupled with writing. And what's good about what we just saw is that you saw characters. There are scientists who laughed and cried. The robot itself had its own character. They were calling her. Apparently she was a girl. They also, in the film, they also made a Facebook profile for the glider. So, scientists and science in general can be seen, as quirky, adventurous, and obviously there are tons of obstacles that scientists deal with on a daily basis when they're working out in the field. And this trailer showed, an example of one of them.
Who here knew that science could make you cry? He was so moved by the science that this man cried. I just thought that was a funny joke, but it wasn't. So let's move on. Okay. One of our more recent documentaries that we're making at the Rutgers, or have made at the Rutgers Film Bureau, is really exciting. Antarctic Edge, 70 Degrees South. It has premiered in New York. It's in theaters in Los Angeles right now, and it's going to be on Netflix by the end of the summer. A lot of eyes and a lot of important people are watching this movie. We got a review in the New York Times, so this is a really big deal. And we're so excited to have been able to work on this. Myself as just a college student, and Steve as a young 20-something. So there's a lot of possibilities as smart, young, pretty good-looking people, because you all look pretty nice out there. Thanks for laughing. So Antarctic Edge was created over a 2-year span. The director of the program went to Antarctica with 22 scientists, shot 400 hours of footage, edited by 3 editors and 14 undergraduate college students. I was one of those college students who got to work on this. Mary heard me on NPR last month with Leonard Lopate. talking with the director of the film and the main scientist, Oscar Schofield, who you will see in the trailer, about this movie. So really exciting stuff going on here, and we can show you the trailer now.
We have a sea level disaster facing us. It's a hard problem. It's 24/7. It is an extreme environment. It's a very hard place to work. It's a very dangerous place to work. Big danger is to get trapped in the ice. One of my first cruises ended up being stuck in the ice for the entire month. This isn't like science. Life at the heart of some of the largest climate change on Earth. We were right there around the school. In my lifetime, that whole area of Earth has changed. The winter sea ice season is 90 days short.
And there is a complete sense of responsibility. We can't mess this up.
Not sure we can make it.
So yeah, that was our trailer for Nordic Edge. Again, showing science in an exciting and action-driven manner. We had personal accounts from scientists who were stuck in Antarctica for an entire month, as you saw there. We had another scientist who lost his finger because it got caught in a winch when they were pulling up net toes. So that's all in our movie, and it's all exciting stuff. So I guess our school of thought at the Rutgers Film Bureau when we're producing our documentaries is we're always sitting down and telling ourselves what makes a good story and ultimately what makes a good science story. And this kind of goes back to writing as a journalist, whether you're writing as an essay in class. It's all just formulating thought and figuring out how to present it. So obviously, you're going to start with a good hook. In the beginning of our film, we presented a montage of different climate change events happening all across the world. And we needed to do that in order to get a general audience excited and concerned about what was happening all the way in Antarctica. How many people have been to Antarctica here? Great. How many people have been to the Jersey Shore? Right, we're like practically there. So, so what we did was we showed clips of Sandy, right? And that's going to have immediate impact on you as viewers because, or at least for most of you who live in Jersey or New York, you experienced that event. Whereas glaciers melting in Antarctica don't really mean anything because it's so far away, it's so intangible. But noticing that, or at least acknowledging that what's happening in Antarctica has some sort of correlation to the storm surges that were part of Sandy, or the other events that have been happening throughout the world, draws empathy within the viewer, right? And we also say in the film that storms like Hurricane Sandy that were once predicted to be 100-year storms are now estimated to be 10-year storms. So when you hear something like that as a New Jersey resident or someone who lives by the shore, you're going to obviously be really concerned, and you're going to care about what we have to say in this Antarctica documentary, which says a lot because Antarctica is thousands of miles away. So yeah, we want to talk about what makes it exciting.
So at Rutgers University, in the film department, we take some classes, storytelling classes, screenwriting, how to get people interested. So we have a good hook to grab them in. Who here has written an essay for an English class? And your teachers talk to you about your thesis, yeah? Opening sentence. They want you to grab the reader. Well, we want to grab the audience member. Does anybody here have a favorite book? Yeah. Can you think of a character who made you cry in the book? Can somebody name a character? What's her name? Bella from Twilight? or Elizabeth Bennet in Pride and Prejudice. No, you've got a character. Yeah. There's a character in that book who is totally fiction and on a piece of paper, but you're able to step into her or his brain and sympathize with them. Well, we want to do the same with scientists, make them into characters for the movie, though they're real people, so people can empathize and worry about the problems they're facing in Antarctica. Is the boat going to get stuck? Are they going to miss the whale? Are they going to make it in time to do their research on the penguins? So we're just trying to change the paradigm of the science identity and make them into interesting people that we can relate to. That's kind of interesting. So this is a short bonus scene that I made that's on the DVD for Antarctic Edge, focusing on 2 female scientists. I see a lot of females in here, which is super exciting because that field hasn't had too many scientists historically over the years. And same with filmmaking or writing, I suppose, because we're writing here. I don't actually know too much about that. So scratch that. But it's really exciting for me to see a lot of young, intelligent women who are making good, important stuff. These 2 women were doctoral students. Now they have their doctorates. So they're very, very smart scientists who worked on those gliders in Antarctica. So I made a short movie following the scientists. I don't know that we have time to show it, but yeah. If you get the DVD, then you can watch it. We're running out of time, though. This is the Skycatcher. This is a student short film, 11 minutes long, that was made by students, just like you guys. Students sitting in a lecture hall at a university. They made a science documentary following the woman up in the top right, a university professor who has been doing research in Alabama about climate change. So these students interviewed the scientists, several scientists on the site, and figured out how to make a story out of that. So I'm afraid we also don't have time to show this one.
And this project, along with the Antarctic Edge film, they're both funded by the National Science Foundation, which is obviously a large, humongous federal organization that both science communicators and scientists get a lot of their funding from. So right off the bat with our funding, we had an obligation to communicate science in a clear and concise manner. There are other science films that you'll watch, or allegedly science films, that hardly discuss the science, but with us, we were obligated to do so. So a large part of that was understanding how to simplify the science. So I know that these students who went to Alabama by themselves were flying in NASA planes over some area that was cooling. I didn't work in this film, so I hardly know very much about it. But they were trying to understand why this one section of forest in Alabama was cooling, as opposed to everywhere else. So they had to understand the science of this one researcher who was doing tremendous research with aerosols and things of that nature, and they had to figure out how to communicate that to a general audience. For us, we like to say to ourselves that to make science tangible for a general audience, scientists should always communicate in a 6th grade understanding of science. So for these students, we're interviewing scientists in Alabama, and for us, we're interviewing researchers all across the various projects that we worked on. We always have to stop them and say, I don't know what that means. Can you say it again? Can you say that in for a 6th grader? Because obviously when you're talking about aerosols, or if you're talking about phytoplankton or species of krill, that's looking at really technical, and often scientists who have been so knee deep in their own research often forget that most people don't know what they're saying. So again, our job is to understand what's important, what are the key elements of their science, and how do I present this to an audience that's both interesting and exciting. So hopefully you guys will go through that process today. Okay. So very quickly, benefits of science storytelling, if you don't already understand them enough. Being able to travel alongside scientists, it's an adventure. The last documentary that I shot was my own personal story about how Typhoon Haiyan affected the Philippines, which was the largest storm to hit landfall in recorded history. So I was scuba diving with scientists and filming them underwater. We've had students go to Brazil, Rome, all over the world, essentially, to film scientists in action. And these stories are also used as a tool for dialogue and stirring up discussions. We also did short films for NOAA, it's the National Association of Oceanic and Atmospheric Research. Those films were brought to Capitol Hill to kind of bolster the argument to fund ocean monitoring. So things like that. And you never stop learning as a journalist as well. Before I was in Thailand learning about aeration systems, then I was learning about krill and phytoplankton, and it's an incredibly fulfilling career to be in. So, do you have any other?
Well, thanks for listening to us blabber on.
Yeah.
Well, you guys didn't laugh, so I hope it wasn't bad. We'll take some moments to answer any questions if you guys have anything you'd like to ask us. Yeah.
Is there a particular format that you use to write a script for this?
It honestly depends on the project and where we get our funding. Again, like the National Science Foundation, getting a project like that comes with its own set of requirements. But typically, we try to plan out a script before we actually start shooting. We obviously can't plan for things to happen. We can just prepare for them. So again, the Skycatcher film that we had just talked about, students were preparing six weeks for that shoot, and they were preparing both a script for about a 30-minute film. They were also preparing shots. They were looking at fiction films and pulling visual motifs from that. So there was a lot of preparation. I can't say that there's a formula for scripts. It also depends on your distributor as well. So if you're producing something for television, the script is going to be a lot tighter and faster than as if you were producing something for a theatrical audience. You want to say? Another important process aspect of the script process is that these are documentaries, so it's not that we invent a hero and a heroine to go out and solve climate change. These are real people. So the script that the students prepare and the filmmakers prepare ahead of time is based on the research on the science that the scientists are doing. And then what our production company does is make sure those scientists give us approval, because you can edit. Does anybody here edit? So you can make anybody say, I love fried chicken. Just put those two sentences together and make them say anything you want. I know Snooki. I don't know Snooki, but you can make me say it through editing. So we are sure that we then go to the scientists and say, you get your science right because you're trusting us to tell your story properly. So that's also another final aspect to our script process. Can I take one more? One more? Okay, thank you.
I'm just interested in what you've learned about interviewing, in particular from your initial interviews, which I imagine were kind of nervous, and then to your present day, what do you do differently?
So, you mean like how we make the interview go well?
Yeah, how you get the information.
The scientific information? Well, we like to make the scientist comfortable and establish a relationship with the scientist. Which maybe you guys can, because you're going to be interviewing scientists pretty soon. So we remember that they're people and just have a regular conversation with them. And we kind of do research ahead of time. So I know that Dr. Schofield is focusing on ocean ecosystems and currents. So I research that ahead of time so I can ask him the right questions. An important part of interviewing is listening. So you hear what the scientist gets really excited about. So then you ask a question, you ask her or him a question about that instead of just the next one on your paper. So you want to be a part of the conversation, not just reading a list of questions. Do you want to answer that real quickly? Or was that amazing?
That was good.
Well, it looks like we're out of time. We want to thank you all for listening.